Mike has good control. Part of what maintains his good control are his feet clenching under my shoulder. So as his feet hook under my shoulder, this makes it difficult to hitchhiker. As if I can't escape this shoulder, I can't hitchhiker. But with my hands locked, I have a few options. I can attack the bottom leg right here or the top leg. So bottom leg, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my elbow underneath this leg here, sweep it up here, and now I have really spread his legs. The arm bar is very weak. I want to keep his leg between mine, come up, and here, let's rotate. And when I come up with this right here, I'm on this, I'm going to be out. Okay, so bottom leg attack.
Do it twice, just so for some of us that like to see the details.
So I'm right here, my hands are locked, my elbow comes underneath his ankle, and I come up with my leg, and I take that ankle down. Then I'm going to keep it locked, and I'm going to try and come up, keeping that there. I'll have a hard time keeping my arm. You still have my arm, you'll still fight for it, but you're not going to have a dangerous lock on me at that point. Okay, bottom leg attack. The more common one is the top leg attack here, where I'm trying to push this off my head, and he'll be trying to fight over it. He'll be trying to, but I'm going to try and get my head on top of his leg. So let's actually rotate this way through this one. Okay, so he's here. This leg's over my head. I'm going to try and get it off my head, and as soon as it's off my head, I want my head on top of his leg, and I want to come over his leg like this. Immediately his legs are spread. He has a hard time recovering the arm bar. If I'm laying on it, I have a pretty easy time coming out of the lock. But you'll see people, they're fighting to get the leg on top, and the other guy's fighting to keep it off, but he wants to get his head on top of this leg. My head's on top of this leg. He'll have a very hard time finishing the lock. I'm going to turn into him. Come on. But I'm a pretty high flyer with the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker, it's kind of like you want to be tight, tight, tight. You don't want him to control when your arms break and your hands come apart. So you're pulling. He's going to be tugging. I want to feel whether this shoulder is escaped. If I can get this shoulder underneath his legs, I'll give him the arm bar right here, and I'm going to give him the arm bar. It's going to be a very limp arm. As I turn my thumb this way, I turn my body. He's going to try and joystick my arm back to the middle, but I'm going to be trying to come out. And notice what let me turn there, what let me escape was having this shoulder out. If he's under this shoulder, go ahead, get under that shoulder tight. And I can't move that shoulder. I can't move my body to allow my body to escape along with my elbow. But if we're here and I'm keeping this loose, I'm not letting him have his feet under my shoulder, I'm going to have an easy time getting my arm loose, my thumb turned all the way, and my shoulder out. I need this shoulder to escape from under his legs in order to perform the hitchhiker escape. So that gives some insight to the top guy. For the top guy, this is why I keep my knees together. It's why I keep my heels hugged in underneath his shoulder. If I'm doing the arm bar on him, I know that if I want to prevent escapes, one of the big things I can control is the far arm. If I control this far arm, if I keep my heels under his shoulder, that's preventing his hitchhiker. If I control the far arm, it's going to make it hard for him to pull either of my legs off of his head. Like, as we're here and he's coming underneath, I want to be controlling this far arm. That far arm really hugs his shoulders into me. We're here. I'm under his body. Lets me finish the arm bar. Lets me maintain control. But those are like sort of the 3 escapes that I use.
Well, if I want to learn escapes, I'm going to go to Erik.
Yeah.
Or Chhi'med. Those were some really good details. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, Chhi'med.
So again, if I can get a little momentum here, that'll help me sit up. Another thing is I have to turn to this corner, come up here, and when I get to this position, I'm going to come up. I can stack. If I want to be mean, I can kind of stack. At this point, you start thinking you don't really have it. And so this gets a little tricky because it's like I probably can stop him by stacking him on his neck. But now it's almost like I have to be the nice one. And since maybe he let me out, maybe I have to let him have it if I can't get out of it. So it's kind of like an emotional game here too. But if I do want to get out of it, what I should do is come up, and if I take this hand now and put this on his chest, keep this tight, and I'm going to put a pressure in. And again, I try to stack him just enough that he knows it's there, but not injuring him. And then I'm going to push with this and pull out there. And usually people that are good at this, they'll try to armbar me from here now. This pressure is the key that I need something to push off of. I'm starting a lawnmower. That's
Right?
Yes.
I'm not waiting till the armbar already gets in. So for me, it's like all about keeping my elbows in. Then go ahead. And it gets a little more. And it gets a little more. I keep going. And it gets a little more. And can I escape it there rather than at the other spot? So, and again, that just depends on how much control, like Chris said, control until the submission squeezes out. But if we're in this spot where we're about, like we could address this from so many angles, right? We could be talking about defending from our backs, from all these different things. But this particular one, we just started with, from that classic position where we're like, we screwed everything else up. But I do really, really appreciate, Bob, you pointing that out, because I think it's absolutely critical that we know that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure in this in an exponential way in this art, and that we really want to try to, from that bottom position, we want to escape the mount, not escape the arm lock.
Back and forth the game goes on.